Hey, hi, welcome. What if I were to tell you that there's 3 other things other than incident investigations that you should be investigating with the same meticulous approach and tenacity that you would dedicate to those other incident investigations?
Wow, Kevin, really?
Now, the first one you might see coming. You might likely expect it. The second one might take you by surprise. And the third, well, it might catch you unawares as well. Are you curious? Well, let's have a look. But first, what we want to do is just talk about the incident investigation process, just as a quick review. So the incident investigation process, it's a few simple steps, really and truthfully, and I've talked about it in other videos, and I'll leave a link in the description for the playlist. But you want to check out the scene, okay? No matter what kind of investigation you're doing, get off your butt and go to the scene. You want to gather data, make observations. So that means making sketches, taking measurements, and checking things out and making your observations. You want to talk to people. You want to interview bystanders, witnesses, the workers involved, managers, supervisors, all the people necessary to get the whole picture. You want to make notes. Remember, the best defense of due diligence is dated, dependable, defendable documentation. Draw conclusions using the contributing factors that you examine for at the scene. Then you can determine root cause. Using both, you can figure out a plan of attack to fix it. Because fixing it is what you want to do, right? You don't want to lay the blame game. You don't want to start pointing fingers. You just want to fix it. That's your job. So the first one, well, dangerous work refusals.
That's all you got?
Yeah, there's more to come. I've got more than that. Trust me. Stick around. I know you're thinking, is that all you got, Kevin? And I understand that. They are worth investigating, and you need to do some good, thorough investigation. Usually what happens is it's corrected by the supervisor. But sometimes the workers says it's not good enough, and then you get called into the scene. So you need to ask yourself, is this a one-off? Is this only the time it's ever happened? Or is it something that's been happening and been considered part of the job? Is it been accepted as normal? And so you need to look into that. You need to look at, is this happening in other areas of your organization or with similar pieces of equipment? The other thing is, what happened? Why did it occur? Is it due to process, equipment, training? Look into it further. And you also have to understand, it didn't happen overnight. Unless there was some external influence like a huge storm or part of the building collapsed or something to that effect, unless it happened instantaneously and there was that external influence, usually this is something that's crept up over time. So ask all of the questions, look into it, find out if it's occurring elsewhere, find out if it's occurring with other workers. Do that deep dive, because just that quick fix might just be that, and a quick fix, it might be just temporary, and that's it. And you don't want just temporary. So we have to understand, not understanding root cause results in incorrect corrective actions, but not using and considering the causal factors results in incorrect corrective procedures. So you have to use both, and especially with unsafe or dangerous work refusals, dive deep into it and have a look at why it's occurring, because if you just do a quick fix, it's just that, just a quick fix. Now, the next thing is incomplete corrective actions. And we might have all heard it before. You know, where the Health and Safety Committee makes a recommendation to the employer, their employer responds and says, yes, we've understand it, we're going to address it, and then crickets. Or there's been a recommendation that's come out of an incident investigation or a worksite inspection, and a corrective action has been noted and it's been brought forward. But once again, after a couple months, crickets. Nothing's done. In my limited experience, usually what happens, there's arguments that go back and forth as to why it's not done. It costs too much. We're too busy doing actual work. Yes, I've heard that one. You need to look at it. Are there other extenuating circumstances that might point to a root cause as to why the corrective actions haven't been done? Do you have a schedule for completion? Do you have a prioritization method built into your occupational health and safety management system? Like, for instance, in an inspection, sometimes people will just check off what needs a corrective action. What's a deficiency? And this is deficiency. Like, say, for instance, fire extinguisher is outdated, needs to be charged, whatever. Deficiency, but they don't give it a hazard rating. Is that a C hazard, B hazard, A hazard? Do you use your risk matrix as part of your worksite inspection process or your incident investigation process when you're determining corrective actions? Is it something that needs to be done immediately based on the risk? Also, you need to ask yourself, is there an external influence that's occurred before? Has something happened, like all of a sudden a market demand that occurs at this same period every year, and that's interfering with that corrective action being completed because it's taking precedence? And now I know we should always want to fix unsafe situations as soon as possible, but the question you have to ask yourself is, does the supervisor or manager or whoever's in charge of that section, who's been tasked with that corrective action, understand the gravity?
That is a very good question.
Does your occupational health and safety management system provide that clear process? Realize one thing, when you dive into it, you might find out it's your fault. We have to remember, without clarity, guess judgment occurs. Guess judgment is when people they don't have the experience or knowledge, so they make a guess as to what the best thing that they should be doing is. And you know what? Guess judgment is easily flawed, easily swayed, and sometimes even goes by the wayside. So to avoid guess judgment, provide good, clear instruction through your occupational health and safety management system and have a good prioritization process. Hint, use your risk matrix. Yeah, there'll be a link in the description. Now, the last one, the third one, is repeated non-compliance. Now, this one's a bit tricky. You might think the reason the corrective actions are not being implemented is it's just defiance and outright non-compliance. But before you go accusing, you need to investigate. So if you need to, rewind the video and have a look at the last point. Once you've thoroughly investigated it, you might find out that it is non-compliance, and it is non-compliance because the person's been willfully negligent. Or repetitive inspections might turn up the same non-compliance issues. One example that people see often is guards being repeatedly removed. Yeah, I know, that never happens, does it? Not at all, ever. If you're seeing these repeated things, it's time to investigate further and to find out why. I mean, before you have a hissy fit and a tantrum and go and yell at people, why not find out why? There might be a valid reason from their point of view. Now, I'm not saying that anybody has the right to be non-compliant with health and safety legislation.
No, absolutely not.
But they may see it as that way because, was it the usual excuse, we can't work effectively? Now, if compliance is causing work to grind to a halt, that's when you need to work with that party or that group of people and figure out a process where work can continue safely. Or you might dive into it deeper and find out that communication was an issue. The understanding of compliance wasn't quite there. Now, realistically, we always hire people that are experienced for the job, but a lot of times circumstances change, and sometimes there needs to be that confirmation of awareness and understanding, and, if necessary, remedial instruction because training might have been inadequate or absent. So you need to investigate, ask the questions, make notes, and draw some good conclusions. Consider the contributing factors and find the root cause. Because once again, confirming awareness and understanding before it's too late is time well spent. And there's no sense trying to work unsafely. It's just a formula for disaster. It's creating an environment for disaster. So once again, use that investigative process. Check out the scene. Go to the scene. You cannot investigate anything adequately from your desk, from your pickup. And I understand the need for remote work, but no matter what, you need some sort of boots on the ground. So go to the scene. Gather data. Make observations, take measurements, take photographs, do what you need to do to gather the data. You're going to have to talk to people, talk to all of the people involved, make notes. Once again, due diligence defense is dated, dependable, defendable documentation. There's nothing that can be worse than not having adequate notes and having to refer back from your flawed memory. Draw conclusions, consider your contributing factors. With each of those, you can start asking why to work towards that root cause. Yeah, link in the description. And once you've determined that root cause, then a good plan of attack to fix it. We have to understand to err is human, to forgive is divine, but to understand why you made that mistake, why you erred in the first place is a good start. For those of you that are new, never been here before, do me a favor. Just click that little subscribe button down below, ding the bell. You'll get notified of content when it goes up and you won't miss a live stream. And now, if you haven't really seen anything regarding incident investigation, or you're new to the channel and haven't seen any of the videos before, there'll be a link in the description, but you can have a look in this corner for a playlist on incident investigations, and then I'll leave another video playlist below it for good toolbox talks. Until we see each other again, do me a favor, don't just think about safety, don't just talk about safety, but be a safety leader, be a safety influencer, and provoke safety wherever you are. Take care. Bye for now.